Hi guys, I'm Dwayne, and it's a great privilege to be able to share this with you. Grateful that a good friend Rodrigo asked me to do this. So most of the information you need about me is in my bio. I'll try to keep this short. I was a ballet dancer, and after dancing in America and across Europe, I retired, as one does, and then went back and studied contemporary dance, and in the process of this I encountered a lot of different movement practices that very much inform how I move, and I really like sharing because they're a lot of fun and they feel really, really good. So we're going to do a lot of things today. Primary concern is that it fits within your house. I'm here in the studio, but we're going to keep it all small. Yeah. So I'm happy to share this, and we're all in this together, which we always are anyway. It just becomes abundantly clear right now how much we all are in this together. So let's get started. Find length in your spine. Take a moment to allow the top of the head to be pulled upward, the sit spine, bones to fall into the ground. And then we're just going to lean forward and back a couple of times. Just feeling this long vertical spine. We're not going to stay there for very long. And we're going to notice the places where there's resistance, and we're going to lay into them and allow the rest of the spine to curve. And then we're going to lengthen and come up. It's really easy. You can do this a couple times, finding length, and then coming up. And finding length, and coming up. And then we're going to go into rolling up through the spine, as if somebody's pushing the back of the sacrum forward and the rest of the spine articulates afterwards. And then we're going to turn a little bit over the right knee and repeat this. And the idea is that you're just giving your body some time to feel the stretches and feel the articulation through all the vertebrae. And change sides. Then we're going to go and we're going to explore this range in the front. So I haven't really said much about the breath. Be attentive to your breath and follow the inhales and the exhales. It's hard if I'm talking to show that. And you can use a side-to-side sequential action. We'll look at that more in a second. And again, I'll come up. You can come all the way up to sitting, and we'll look at this. So you want to send the pelvis first, and then the rest comes up. So I'm articulating the pelvis, and then I kind of imagine like fishing. The rest of the body comes up. And this is the same thing we're doing when we come forward and back, right? And then you can take this action so that your pelvis can twist and go forward, but then it's the pelvis that pulls you back up. So it's about connecting to this lever system, right? Like a pulley. So my pelvis pulls me back. And you want to really make sure that you're articulating through the whole spine. And you can do this over the side. Bring your arms up. Interlock your fingers Stretch your arms up and don't keep your shoulders down. Really pull them all the way up. You can pull your head to the front, chin to the chest if you'd like. And mobilize here in small circles in this space here. And you really want to keep this reaching up. So imagine you're not making a shape, but somebody's pulling you up and somebody's pulling your pelvis down like a rope being pulled taut. And then you're going to release this, let your right hand fall to the side and go over to the right. And here we're just going to start by moving inward, rotating inward and rotating outward, feeling all the changes that happen in the stretch. And the goal here isn't to do yoga or to make a shape or anything like that. It's to find length and mobility and possibility in the body, right? So then the next step, you can walk your hand out of it, or if you want, we're going to come so far that the opposite sits bone comes up. And then we're going to stay this far and pull the sits bone back. We're just going to rock here a couple times, connecting. This is the same action. The pelvis leads, but I provide a bit of resistance by reaching in the opposite direction. Then we come all the way up. And change sides. So first, we go over, and we can turn a bit in and out. You don't have to make any shape with the arm. You can change the hands, you can bend it, you can bring an elbow behind your head if you like. It's about feeling the shoulder blade and the clavicle here moving on the ribs and reaching this whole side so that you get to the lats and anterior serratus and between the ribs. And then we're going to rock so far that our pelvis comes up and then work on that connection there. I think this feels really good. And we're going to come all the way up. And the last. This first. So we're going to round, we're rolling back onto the sits bones, reaching the arms forward, rounding. Inhale, we're going to pull the elbows back, opening the chest. We don't want to collapse. It's not about how far. It's about how much you can stretch the front side over the curve you're making. Exhale, rounding, sending your kidneys backwards. A couple times. And then we can take it into other places with the arms, keeping this articulation of the spine, one of the fundamental things the spine can do. Just getting, I find this a very old action, right? This is how dolphins swim, it's how wolves run, it's how worms crawl. Kind of think of a crawfish tail sometimes, so that like I would be propelling water or moving air like a bird. Just one more time. Then your spine can also do something very old, the lizard. The fish, the side-to-side action. And this is what we did here. And then we're going to twist. So bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you, and we're just going to pulse. We're just going to twist and go back a little bit. We're going to start easy. The idea is to not make shapes, to not go position, but to just follow the actions in the body. So the vertebrae have possibilities. The way the head sits on the spine, the occipital leg, the atlas has possibilities, the shoulders. And we want to allow these things to move, right? They're all some sort of curve in the joint. So by tuning in and listening to the complex action that's happening in the body, a lot more possibilities opened up. Change sides. And then you'll see when you change sides, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you, you'll see how much work you did on the first side because the second side is really stiff. So the work is to avoid hurrying on this side. You can inhale and exhale. Exhale, come back. Inhale, spiral. You could do it another way too. You could exhale and inhale. We'll just repeat this a couple times, a couple more times. Feeling the spiral, right? Not the twist, yes, but also this spiraling action as the head reaches up. All right. Good, okay, let's stretch our legs to the front. And we're just going to continue these waves. We're going to fall forward, and then we're going to roll up. And you can stay with your breath. Traditionally, you could imagine going forward and then inhaling up. But we're going to be a little looser with that because we're going to try, as we do it, to allow different things to happen in the body so that you can like open one leg. Or the other one. These are very obvious ones. You could also do this with a bit more twist. And as we were before, you're just looking for places that you're tight, right? And if you find a nice place in the front, you can stay in the front. It's hard to look front. I tend to like to look down because then I get length in my spine. And you're just going to shift a bit right to the left here. Hopefully enjoying how this feels. The more I enjoy it, the harder it is to talk about it. We'll see if we can keep this going though. And we're going to roll all the way up and move back a bit towards the wall so hopefully you can see me better. We're going to open the knees here. And then we're going to lean forward. We're going to use a bit of weight on the hands and we're just going to move forward and back. Side to side more, not forward and back. And bring your nose to one of your knees, your forehead. You can rock over onto one hand so the other sits bones come up. What we're actually trying to do, more than anything I think, is generate comfort in the nervous system so that it understands this position, or at least it's familiar with it. And then it will, hopefully, or my experience is it will be there for you to use when you need it, right? I think from the perspective of dance, there was always this question of, is what I'm doing useful for me? So we're going to open the legs. And we're going to do the same thing here. And don't hurry to go down. Stay higher up in the beginning. Maybe for some of you this isn't an issue at all. That's fine. If you find yourself rocked like this backwards, you can sit up on a pillow or a block or a book. And it's the same idea. We're just mobilizing backwards and forward. If you haven't done any reading about the newest research on fascia and movement, you should. So it's not just about stretching out the muscles, it's about preparing the nervous system. You can move right to left. It's about releasing fascia, it's about mobilizing joints. And then we're going to come up to the hands here. And now we're going to practice coming into like a sort of supported position, and we're going to shift backwards and forward here. I hope this is visible. We're going to mobilize the shoulders here with a bit of weight on them so they're active, but not so much weight that it's hard. You can make figures of eights. That's what I was doing. You can also roll through the spine. You'll see as you move forward and back, as you move back there's less weight, the arms extend. You can move forward here. But the focus is in the spine right now, more the shoulder blades. You can turn the hands inward. And you can turn them outward. You can even turn them in one direction, and you'll see how that tends to produce certain things in your spine, so that it's easier to curve. I guess you could go the other way. It's easier to curve the way your hands are pointing. And come all the way up. All right, thanks a lot. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite exercises. It belongs to the exercises that are a little more difficult to explain because you can do something very similar that doesn't do the same thing. So to understand this, we're working on not using the rotation in the shoulders. You need socks on your hands, by the way. I think that's the most obvious thing I should have said. You need socks on your hands. And you're going to not be working with this action. You're actually going to keep your arms by your ears, and we're going to be using the rounding of the spine. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to a kneeling position with our sits bones over our knees, hands are forward, and then we're going to reach down, and then instead of bringing my arms, like I said, instead of bringing them underneath me, we're going to curve the spine. Sits bones and sacrum and coccyx, they curve underneath. And the idea is to be pushing into the hands to produce the resistance necessary to train the stomach, right? So it's about activating from the pelvis to pull the spine up. And usually I do it with an inhale and exhale. You can do this a couple times. You can also take it to the side here and then pull it up. But you really want to keep the focus on using the spine, this curving up. So it's not this, it's more like this. And so if this was more slippery, you would pull your knees forward. But instead, it pulls you up. Welcome back. We're going to do some ab work. So what we're going to do is we're going to rock back onto the pelvis. We don't want to spend all of it in the back bend. We can be more like a martial arts body, a bit rounded here, and shift back. And then we're going to release the feet. And we're going to start by bicycling. So we're going to go through a bunch of exercises here. You can stop, keep going, join back in, see how it feels. But first, we got this bicycling. This is like, Sunday morning stroll. And maybe you already noticed something, maybe not. But besides the easy biking, we also have other alternatives. We can do the recumbent bike, this lying back. And here, try to keep the kidneys and the sacrum on the ground, but not much else. So you're really working a specific lower back into the ground type of spine. You can go up, and you can go down with your biking. Try to avoid too much momentum, because it's not about getting it done, it's about learning. And there's also the mountain biking, so you can go onto one of your butt cheeks, your gluteus, and then you can go to the other side. And you'll notice that your legs maybe get a little less coordinated. That's also okay. Maybe do the mountain biking one more time. We'll see if the other angle works better. And you may start breathing quickly, or your breathing may become more difficult to maintain a relaxed breath. That's also okay. Good, and then we're going to come back. All right, from here we're just going to stop for a second. We're going to stretch the legs. This floor is tremendously dirty. I hope yours at home is cleaner. You can also lift the arms here. Try not to go into the back bend. Try to stay really, you can point the feet, you can flex them, just try to stay low. Good. And then we're going to come to lying on our backs. We're going to stretch the legs into the air. And then right hand up to the left foot and back down. A little faster breath with this one. Up, inhale up. And the idea is to just slowly find more reach and also to keep the abs moving. Good, we're going to come up here, place the feet on the ground. And we're going to do what we call a Russian twist. So we're going to go exhale. It's hard to talk about doing this one, but I quite like how I feel after doing abs. I never feel good doing them, of course. but I'm always glad I did them, which is something. Okay, then we're going to come to lying on our backs. We're going to have our spine a bit rounded, our arms behind us. You can have elbows or hands on the ground. You don't want to lift your lower back, that's the thing. So don't be too eager, just bring your legs down and up. And what we're doing is we're pulling the sacrum upward, like, while the trochanters, the legs, go down. I find this tremendous work. And by tremendous, yes, it's really good work. It's also just really hard. 2 more. And then we're going to stay down in butterfly. Small. And again, you can point, you can flex. I find it nice to kind of kick like softer legs. And then you can do big ones. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. This is the point where I would have already quit if I wasn't filming it. All right, last one. And we're going to beat the legs. You can turn them in. You can turn them out. You can bring them further down. This is sort of where I'm at, if I'm honest today. All right. Good. I hope you feel a little bit of activation in your stomach. All right, and we'll see you for the next exercise. We're going to start in a lunge. This is going to be a bit more yoga-esque, but we're going to take a different approach. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that we're on a trapeze. And with an inhale, we're going to go forward, swing the arms, and instead of making a position, we're going to imagine that we're reaching for someone's arms, and then our trapeze pulls us backwards, and we rock back, and we can look all the way back. And then our trapeze swings forward, and we follow it, and we reach for somebody's hand. And then with an exhale, we go all the way forward, and rock back. And the idea is to go into that space where it's difficult, where it's not self-evident that we can balance, where we're wobbling. And where we know that the nervous system is being challenged, and we're learning last time. And set your hands on the ground, pull your leg back. Come to a kneeling position for a second. And then we're going to do the second side. So we're going to put our left leg in front of us. Sorry, right leg down, in between our hands. And we're going to take our trapeze and we're going to swing upward. And then we're going to get pulled backwards by the trapeze. And no matter how good it might have felt at the end of the last one, starting over is always a process of humility. And noticing where we're at on the second side, giving it the same time and value. And keep doing this, keep imagining you're swinging on a trapeze. It makes it a lot more fun, hopefully. And I think the body responds to images like that in a much more holistic way. And then just taking a position that we're bending and trying to bend further. Last time. And put your hands on the ground. Come to your knees. And take a second here. Close your eyes if you like. And just let it sit. And notice what you've done. All right, we're going to work towards building up a little bit of strength, a little bit more work on the hands, and then I'll move to some more articulation exercises. But first, it's going to be a little while on the hands. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch the hands out. We're going to turn the fingers backwards, kneeling. The inside of your lower arm is kind of like the calves of your arms, right? The calves. This would be the thighs, hamstrings, or biceps, right? Biceptus femoralis. Oh, and that's the leg. And then we're going to turn the hands down, and we're going to roll to the insides and outsides of the hands, turning them in, turning them out. And it's not so important what you're doing. As I keep saying, it's more about keeping the presence. So like I can learn something here, like maybe on the edge of my fingers, our hands, I learn there's not much weight I can hold here, but there's some. And you can do the other sides and see. You can do your monkey. I'm going to do some of this later. You can also come onto the fingertips and see what this does for carrying weight. I find it's also really nice. In fact, I suggest that we come to the fingertips, and then we go down, elbows coming up in a cow, so in a curve, and then we're going to round up. Good. And then what we're going to do is bring the hands to the ground. You can keep your hands flat. Some people point the fingers a bit, pushing them in. Some people put the fingerprint in. Right now I'm doing a bit of this with pulling the fingertips because it seems to help me later and it seems to not hurt my hands. But you can feel what you need to do. What's important is that it's not a dead organ. That's something that's actively sensing and holding the ground. And we're going to reach the legs back into plank and then bring the knees forward. Back, exhale, inhale forward. So the pelvis optimally won't come higher. I'm going to inhale here and then exhale forward. So changing the breathing. Good. And then we're going to come back to sitting on the legs. Shake the hands out a bit. I'm sweating too. So from here what we're going to do is we're going to shift forward and back. I'll turn to the side. So we're going to shift forward onto the hands and back. And we want to practice for later being able to let go of the hands because that guarantees that your pelvis is down when we land from some things. Forward, over the hands, you can stay here a bit, and then go back. And what we want to notice is how the shoulders are shifting, how it feels. To have weight over the hands, and when the shoulders take over, we're going to shift further and further forward, you'll notice, so that the head reaches far out. This will be the last one. And then what we're going to do in that moment, when we're as far as we can, we're going to pull the legs together. Then I'm going to reach the head forward, pushing into the hands, and reach the legs back. And that's what we're going to do a couple times. And right now I'm trying not to jump. I'm trying to slide my feet, which is why I have socks on. You can also do it barefoot. A couple more. And last one. And that's where we'll start. So this next exercise is one I really like for opening up the hips. It's also nice with socks. I'll do a couple versions, and you can see which ones fit you. So the idea is we're going to come into a lunge here, we're not going to stay there very long, so it's not so important. What we're going to do is we're going to reach one leg back, letting our pelvis drop here, so that maybe the knee comes to the ground, lifting up. Then with an exhale, my head is going to drop, and that's going to pull my pelvis up, and I'm going to guide it to the outside of my right hand. And then with an inhale, I'm going to sink on the other side. What's important to make this light is that I send my head down, and that's what brings my pelvis up, and then I go down. And you want to try to let your body find the softest and easiest way. It doesn't mean you're avoiding the work, it means you're not forcing. I think I spent too long forcing before I realized the strength of not forcing and allowing, so I would recommend you think about that. I think it feels really good. Do a couple more of these. I'll turn again. Good, okay. So now, there's another version. You can skip this if this doesn't fit you. I won't do too many, and if you really like it, you can stop the video and do some more of them. But I think this is a great one, but it's obviously very body specific. So you can reach your legs through into a split, arching up. Exhale, your head drops, and then you shift through. You might need blocks or hooks for the hands. Inhale up, exhale through. And you want to try what I'm not doing super good job of today is making a completely smooth transition. Now we're going to do an exercise for the hamstrings. So we're going to fold forward over the front leg. We're going to reach, in this case, the right leg behind us. And we're going to keep the front leg straight. So obviously if you need blocks or hooks or something here, you can use them. And we're going to bend the back leg. And we're going to rock back, bending the back leg, enjoying the stretch back here. And then we're going to push forward. And we're going to try to keep looking backwards the whole time. So the reason that we try to keep looking backwards and upwards is that the head can hang. And then we can give the nervous system some time to be okay with this constellation of being upside down. But as we do this, we can also walk the hands forward so that we can go a bit further forward. Let the hands move. I'm just doing this a couple times. If you want to stop anywhere and you find a nice stretch, you can stay there. And then we're going to set the right foot next to the left, and we're going to do the whole thing again. So, and a lot of times I notice in the videos my head is looking forward as I talk. I would suggest trying to keep it long and not always looking forward. I think it's more useful for a dancer, but you'll have to forgive me if in the process of trying to speak take some funny shapes. So the left leg is going to be behind us, so we're going to fall backwards. And then we're going to go forward here. And you might notice that on this leg, you have to take some time to give the nervous system time to notice what's going on, how to find your balance. What happens if we look back and up? Maybe you want to find a stretch, maybe you want to stay somewhere. You can also walk the hands forward and backwards. Shake the head yes and no if you like. Then set both feet down. And take a second. Take a break. Take a seat. Now we're going to work the legs a bit to give the hands a break. So what we're going to do, I'll position myself so that I can be seen and then I can still accomplish this. We'll see. And then we're going to fold forward.
You can let your head hang so that you're looking backwards. And I'm going to shift into my left leg here, one leg, and I'm going to lift the other. Now, depending on the room you have, space, you might want to keep the leg bent, you might want to stretch it. And all I'm going to do, or all we're going to do, is we're going to walk a bit with the hands. You can bend the leg. You can bring the top leg anywhere you would like. What we're trying to accomplish is becoming more aware of the feeling of sensations involved in having weight on the right leg, left leg here. And if you fall, that's fine. You're going to fall if you're challenging yourself, so don't think about falling as a problem unless you knock over your favorite base or whatever. So I'm going to stay with this a little longer. You can look here, bring your head and search a bit with your head for new things to mobilize in your spine as if your head was leaving. And then we're going to set the right foot on the ground. Then we're going to shift into the right foot. And we're going to do the same thing with the left leg. We're going to look up, look down, look around, circle the leg, shift weight into the hands. The more weight you have in your hands, the less stretch there is. But it might be that you get a nasty cramp. You can actually bend the leg. Down, you can come up. You can fix your shirt if you feel like it. And what we're going to do, we're going to move from this squat a bit forward with the heels up. But what's important here is that we're going to approach this like a monkey, like an ape. And instead of moving the hands, we're going to shift the body. And what happens as we shift from right to left is the plane that the torso makes and the plane with the ground shift, and then the arms become diagonals. So it goes from a cube to a rhomboid. And in that moment, you'll see that as you shift, certain parts of the body don't need weight, and they become free. And those will be the places that we move. So what we're trying to do here is shift to release something, and you can also shift back. But we want to try to keep it smooth by being honest with the shifting. If you're in a small space at home, it might feel like you're pacing in a cage, which is also okay. What we can also do here is we can turn the pelvis using that action to shift so that the pelvis twists and drops. And that might be a useful tool for you to shift. I like to imagine a slinky, this American toy that would go down the steps, so that if my head goes this way, then the rest of the body comes around afterward. So I can use my weight, for instance, my head going down to bring my pelvis up. Maybe you want to try that, falling to the ground to bring your pelvis up. Falling, and then up. And if you lose the sensation, you can come back to this very basic monkey, the shifting. You can also So we're going to bring our left heel to the ground, and we're going to walk out onto the left foot. And then we're going to roll our pelvis up, reaching the right arm up. And then here we're not going to stay, we're going to move. So you can look down, you can look up. You're trying to teach yourself or your nervous system to be okay and comfortable with this very unstable labial position. You can also change arms so that it's your left foot on the ground and left hand, and then right arm up. And then you can round and look backwards. You can stretch the leg and the arm. You can circle the arm. And then we're going to change legs. So you're going to bring your right foot to the ground. And we're going to start with the right hand on the ground. Then we're going to push into the right foot and roll the pelvis up. And then here we're going to play with all the possibilities we can have here. And falling is not a big deal. I mean, it shouldn't be. It might be if you fall on your stuff. But don't, or try not to censor yourself and think that somehow it's something that has to be right. Then we can change hands. I'm actually having a lovely cramp here in my right hip. Sometimes they're so bad you should stop, and sometimes it's something you just have to hang on and they go away. Alright guys, I'm going to offer you guys one more. The principle behind this exercise is about shifting weight into the hands. So from the squat, shifting it into the hands. And in the moment that you would not be able to go further in the shoulders, you allow the pelvis to go up and the energy to be redirected. Now what you can do from here, instead of placing your hands down, you can fall into them. That'll make it a little easier. And then from here you can start to lightly jump. You don't want to bend the legs again, so you don't want to do any donkey kick. We just like to let the legs hang, if possible. And as you do this, you can start to twist your hands a little bit and change directions. And you're just trying to practice going up and softly down, falling into it, and then landing back in the squat. And the important work is getting your pelvis down, because then in this position your knees bend. So have fun with this. Try it around your house. You'll notice. Okay, now we're going to do an exercise, and what we're going to do is the arms are going to go up. And the arms go up not because they go up, but because through the action of throwing the arms up, the body weighs at least the weight of the arms plus maybe a bit of momentum less, so that the knees have less. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw the arms up and the heels are going to go down. And then at this moment, I'm going to rock back and fold forward. And then my pelvis is going to pull the sits bones towards the knees, and I'm going to roll all the way up. So I'm going to go inhale and roll up. So the arms go up, I drop, I go forward, and I roll up. And so we're going to do this a couple times. We go down, the head is last, the pelvis pulls under, and you're looking for the space where, in that moment where it might be painful for the knees, you redirect backwards so that the knees don't take the brunt. Then we're going to do this with legs turned out. Hey guys, we're going to do some standing exercises now. And we're going to start with something you probably already know, teacups. We're going to imagine that we have a teacup, or you can use something like a little votive candle or something would work. And we're going to imagine we're holding this on our hand as we circle the arm. And it doesn't have to be exact, but you want this condition to require that the shoulder has to work and move. And you can reach it away, and you can pull it too. You can make big detours with the body to make it easy for the shoulder, so that the spine is doing the work. You can also make small detours with the spine so that a lot more work is happening in the shoulder. We're going to do this just a little bit more. As you do this, you can step forward and back.
so that we're just mobilizing our right shoulder. Then we're going to stop, shake it out. See if we notice a difference. I feel immediately, sorry I'm scratching, I feel immediately a difference in the two shoulders, and that will hopefully help us to understand what we're doing while we're doing what we're doing. And we're going to do the left side. I find it also nice to follow the hand with the head. And again, you can reach your way, you can come to you, reach your way other ways. You can take big motions of the spine that inform a very different path of the arm and shoulder, and small movements in the spine. We're definitely working the shoulder, but we're also sort of surreptitiously working the spine. Okay, so now we're going to go with two hands. And here, we're going to apply the same sort of improvisational approach. It's not about doing it a certain way. Obviously, if you keep the hands the same time moving, that informs it very differently than if you let the hands go in different directions and times. But you can play here, you can find a stop, for instance, where it won't go anymore, and then you have to release with the other hand something. I don't want to say be creative, because that's a difficult command to give, but try to avoid worrying too much about if it's right. It's just a tool to provide mobility and a way of warming up without having to necessarily do drills. I think I was always searching for ways to make the work fun. And now that I have a young son, I can definitely say that these kind of approaches are much more accessible for young people than counting reps. So, as we do this now, you can see that bigger things happen, little things can happen. Alright, so now we're going to look at articulating the spine from standing. So we're going to imagine, and this is where it kind of moves into the dirty hippie stuff, but that I think is just fantastic, so you see how you feel. But you can imagine like there's a point on your nose. You could do it with any point on your face, we'll change, you can do it at any point on your body. But we'll start with the nose. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to draw circles with the tips of our nose. So I will turn to the side, so you can see. And the idea is that with the tip of the nose, I'm exploring making circles, right? Right now it's horizontal, but I could also do perpendicular circles to the ground. And right now we're fixed. You can let the legs move. We're trying to do it in a small space, and so this is primarily about focusing on standing right now. But you could, in theory, let it take you off balance and up to the knees, whatever. So now, instead of just up and down, we're going to imagine a rubber ball band where we can take all sorts of different rubber band paths. So I can make a circle in this way. I could even make a half circle and jump on another band and go up and over and around to cross a different way. The idea is just to use this image, again, to surreptitiously, to maybe more playfully or metaphorically mobilize the body rather than just being doing exercises, more exploratory. We're going to do another movement generation coordination exercise. It's very easy. It's not particularly new, but it's still a lot of fun. We're going to put our hands on us. And we're just going to rub our hands up and down us. As we do this, we can send the hands in different directions or the same direction. We can leave one behind. We can cross. And there's also some specific places that are difficult, like bringing the head under the arm.
without losing it. So the arm would go to the front of the shoulder, and then you'd go underneath. And that's already like a useful coordination. But in general, we're looking to find excuses and ways of creating new patterns in the body. So everything you do is fine, so long as you pay attention to what you're doing. And you can also have different parts of the body touching. One of the important parts, you can fix your hair while you do this. One of the important parts is that you're also developing a sense of touch. And your body will use this, your nervous system in all aspects. The more sensitive your sense of touch is, the more you're going to be able to understand how better to notice when you land, when you touch the ground, when you make contact with the partner. And then you can also take the arms over the other arms so that you also reach long and wipe yourself. Like I said, this is dirty hippie stuff, but you're going to find it really goes a long way towards loosening the body and producing more space for movement. Plus, it just feels really good. So. All right, so the next one's called wall walking. You're going to need a bit of space, a wall to walk on. And what we're going to be doing is just, like most of what we've been doing, a small improvisation, so to speak, on walking on the wall. We're going to walk backwards until our heels touch the wall. Now you can come to a sort of downward dog. Then you're going to place your feet on the wall. And then the next step is, for instance, to walk all the way forward, really articulating through your shoulders. You'll notice that your hands have to really push forward to get your pelvis in line with the shoulders. Here you can also practice bending your legs and going backwards, walking forward and releasing one leg. Or the other leg. You can also walk closer to the wall. Bend your legs here and play a little bit with what would it mean to bring the knee to the wall or the other knee. And then of course you can see that certain spirals in the body allow you to do different things. Maybe you want to release one leg, play with it. Maybe you want to sit on the wall. Feel free to challenge yourself and don't worry about where you get. So long as you're getting the workout you need, then it will continue to develop. Especially, here it's much more difficult, but you are still trying to keep the attention in your body as you move. It's just understandably much harder when your weight's all in your hands. All right, enjoy. So you are going to come to lie on the ground. You can lie with your back on the ground. You can relax your head and your spine and your pelvis. You can allow your arms and your legs to fall to the side. And you're just going to take some time to notice how much you weigh, what parts of the body touch the ground. And perhaps allow those parts to take more weight, to give more in to gravity, to fight a little less against that which is always anyway there.
Maybe you want to start from the top and scan your head and see if maybe you can propose the question, can you let go there? And it may be an emotional holding on, it may be a physical, but just see if you can for a little while trust the ground, this lying position. And then maybe feel the curve of the neck and relax the curve of the neck. And then allow your torso, the ribs, the weight of the organs to sink into the ground. And allow your trachea and your lungs to relax, your sinuses. And allow your stomach to relax and fall into your pelvis, so that all the organs fall down into the ground, spread outward. And allow your legs to fall out of your pelvis, the thigh bone, the femur to fall out of the joint, the knees to fall apart, two bones in your lower leg to fall apart, and your feet to relax, release, and fall apart. Then slowly start to move your fingers and your toes. And allow it to be delicate and fine. There's no hurry. And slowly pull your knees to your chest. Hug your knees. Roll a bit to the right, to the left. Squeeze more, squeeze less. And then you can even roll over the side or directly to the front and come to a comfortable seated position. And then we'll all, wherever we are, whatever time we're doing this, take a moment to be grateful for the community and abundance that we have. Yeah. May you be well.